Welcome in to the Ahman Green Show on 93.7 The Ticket and thetickfm.com. 12-year NFL veteran.
He's got some speed to go with strength.
Huskers and Green Bay Packers Hall of Famer.
Shovel pass to Green into Vikings territory. Finally brought down.
And University of Nebraska East Sports coach.
Green all by himself. 20, 10, touchdown. 98 yards and a Lambeau leap.
Here is your host, Ahman Green.
Well, actually, it's not Ahman Green. It's DP. But don't fret. Don't worry. We're going to hang out for the next hour. And then Harrison Arns will take over from 7 to 8. We want to thank you folks for hanging out with us. We're efforting Ahman, as you can probably imagine. He's a busy guy, and things pop up. But we're pros, and we'll get through this next bit, this first segment here. And I want to say thank you, folks, for hanging out on the Starter Hamer text line. It's been cool to kind of be behind the scenes, working production stuff and working deals, and then watching folks interact. 402-464-5685, by the way, if that's something you want to do and you want to jump in. I thought that Austin and I could have a talk, because Austin and I haven't talked much since
a minute.
Well, it's, you were busy, I was busy. Then, we're kind of watching Jay and Kenny do their thing. And that's such a unique conversation. I try to stay out of the way of it, to let them do their thing. And I'm working behind the scenes on some other stuff. Some folks have asked that I bring back one-on-one. DP one-on-one, and I'm trying to figure where in the lineup to put it, what would serve best, whether it's within ticket weeknights, but there's so many young people that are now prepared and ready to do shows. Like, we'll venture into some of the other sports, soccer, tennis, wrestling. Those folks are lining up, and in a matter of statement, so are the coaches. And I want to stay out of the way of the Husker folks, because we're trying to get Mark Manning. All right, well, I need to make sure there's room for Mark Manning. I need to make sure there's room for Heather Brink, right? That when they have messages that they want to get out there and they want to have conversations, that we have room for it. Lance Harvell, trying to keep that thing. He's so good on air, and all of these coaches are really good on air. And then there's some other space where there are educators who have some really cool things that they'd like to share, and we're going to need time for it. So I think that's good. Through all the stuff that we're doing. And then, when a Hall of Famer like Ahman Green comes along, you want to have space and time to be able to do that. Adam Carricker's first show next Friday. Woo! Next Friday. He's recording it, and we will probably debut it Friday night on all the streams. And it'll be in full form, and of course it'll make it over to Allo. And if you're not aware, we'll continue to remind you, Allo, if you go over to Allo Cable, Allo Fiber, channel 951, there we are in all of our glory, and we will be there. We're working on channel 937. Like, we had to petition, the leadership at Allo that, hey,
if we're gonna do this, we gotta do it right.
Well, that's a thing, right? Look, let me give a full shout out to Allo, Brad Moline, and the leadership over there for actually working with us and being considerate and being open to adding this thing and allowing us to do this thing. They're being so helpful. We're working on, of course, they have their summer concert series that they sponsor. We're going to join in with that, and so we'll partner with that. They do a whole lot for student athletes. A lot of our student athletes who do shows have sponsorship and NIL deals with Allo, as far as, high speed, plus the equipment, that sort of thing. So what they're doing for us is the same thing. And as we head towards a new location, there's a lot of stuff we need to go into it. And Aloe has been exceptional at working with us over that. So there's so much stuff going on. And again, Ahman will hopefully he'll get free and will join us. But a chance for me and Austin Orman to check it out. I'll ask you this, Austin, because I don't think we've gotten a full opportunity to share who you are and why this stuff matters, right? Like we know you're a Duke fan, that you kicked your covers with your wife, which is
big time.
which is a sure sign you're one of us, right? Right. That's a sure sign that you're one of us. Your love for sports shows that you're one of us. But tell the story. Let's interview each other over the course of this next hour. So what's your give me the people who made Austin.
Got to start with mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Got to start there. Can't not start there. They mean the world to me. They did everything in their power to give me a great childhood, a great foundation for everything, not just sports, student athlete, school first. Sacrificed a lot for us. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. I got two younger brothers, and mom and dad were at everything. They made sure the brothers were at everything. One brother has the event, other ones are there. So big time family.
What does dad do?
Dad is a Spanish teacher at Seward. Been there his whole career.
Wow.
Seward High.
Okay. Is that where you went to school?
I did not go to Seward.
Where did you go to school?
I'm Lincoln born, Lincoln raised. Went to Lincoln Lutheran.
Okay.
Repping my Lincoln Lutheran baseball jersey.
Yeah, I noticed. I was gonna jump on that. Okay. And what about mom?
Mom was a dietitian at the City County Health Department for a while. And she actually moved into education as well. She's teaching nutrition classes at Southeast Community College.
Then we're probably going to pull her into a project that I was actually telling you about the project, that there's some interesting folks who are trying to better the lives and existence of young people here in Lincoln. And through nutrition was one way. And we need more strong, intelligent, caring people at the table when we talk about it to get that done. If I asked you to describe them each with adjectives, give me 3 about Dad.
Oh boy. Dad. You can use so many, right? That's the issue.
You're never wrong.
Narrowing it down.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to look my dad in the eye to do this.
Right. Fair. And I'm going to ask you about mom. So,
that's why I'm trying to
find a picture that pulls them into the right space, right? That pulls them into the right space.
Caring is number 1.
Okay.
I think for both of them.
Okay.
About us, obviously, as their kids, but I'd say committed, I think, would be the next one as well, to each other, to the activities that they did, that we did. If we were going to be something, if we were going to do something, we had to be something. We had to do something.
Be committed to it.
We're not one cheeking it.
Right.
All in.
All in.
So I would say my parents are different people, obviously, but when I think of them in their own way, caring and committed both come to mind, because that's just who my mom and dad are.
If I asked you why you do what you do, where does the love of sports come from?
The unserious answer is, I don't know what else I'd be doing.
No,
No,
you
I do math. I don't do science. I like reading. I like talking.
Do the thing you love most.
Yeah.
Like that's really like we get to do this.
1,000,000%.
Like we get to do this. So
that's another thing I would say about my parents too. They wanted to make sure we were well-rounded. So we did sports, involved in music as well. Learned that.
What'd you play?
Started with piano. Completely lost that.
Can you play at all other than chopsticks?
I cannot. That's again, I outkicked my coverage. My wife's an amazing piano player.
Okay.
I played clarinet in high school.
Wouldn't have guessed that. Wouldn't have struck that. You wouldn't have struck me as a clarinet player.
We had one in the family, and I'm like, okay, sure,
It's here.
may as well.
Yeah.
My dad played the trombone. Mom was a saxophonist.
Okay. All right.
And
So
I felt closer to my mom's side. We share a birthday.
I share with my grandmother.
No way. Look at that.
I was my grandmother's 50th birthday. And
Happy 50th, Grandma.
Right. Like that was her and I's joke forever, was that I was her favorite because I was actually a gift to her. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Who was your first sports hero?
First sports hero, Peyton Manning.
Why?
Because I decided early on my favorite color was blue.
Okay.
My family enjoys the NFL, but my dad, again, probably the biggest sports influence on me, doesn't have an NFL team.
Okay.
Watches the Chiefs, watches the Evil Empire.
Got it.
It wasn't sold on either of those. Again, I just love the color blue. I saw the Colts on, hey, they're blue.
Yeah, that'll do.
Peyton Manning's there, wanted to play quarterback, played quarterback in flag football.
Yeah. Was it because that was football? Who was your first basketball hero?
First basketball
Like,
hero.
who made you love basketball?
Some of my best basketball memories were just going to go play pickup ball with my dad in my elementary school. Didn't really get into NBA until high school.
Who'd you do? I mean, when you and your dad played, who'd you talk about? Weren't there players that you talked about when he would explain it to you?
Bigger college basketball family.
Yeah.
A lot of Nebraska players. I mean, he would talk about Strick. He would talk about Mikey Moore.
Yeah.
Jerron Boone was in those conversations. And then Lance Jeter came up. Pretty formative.
Yeah, I crossed paths yesterday with a former Husker, and turns out he's friends with a friend of mine, Bernard Day.
Okay.
And I found out he's here in Lincoln, and I said, well, you need to stop by the station. But he's friends with, as a matter of fact, he was coached in the Capital Classic All-Star game by my mentor, Red Jenkins, who was the head coach at Woodson High School in Virginia, who was the home of Tommy Amaker. And the reason why he was coaching was his Tommy Amaker-led team was really good. So he coached.
It happens when you have Tommy Amaker on your team.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. That was a strong era back then. But yeah, who you fall in love with? Like I was around. Oh, the very first stars that I knew of that I wanted to be like were, like, I got Dr. J when he was with the Virginia Squires and the ABA.
Okay.
Like before the Nets and before I got,
was he Dr. Julius then or still Dr. J?
No, he was Dr. J. He was definitely Dr. J. Because so I had family in East Orange, New Jersey, and they would come down and stay at my grandmother's, and then me and my cousin would go play ball, and he and I kind of grew into, like, I would spend summers up there, up in New Jersey. And so I got to, like, the Mets. So I was a Senators fan, Washington Senators, but they were terrible. They were terrible. My stepdad liked Baltimore, so we would drive up to Memorial Stadium and watch the Jim Palmer, Boog Powell, Frank Robinson Orioles.
Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson are dudes I want to go back and watch.
Yeah. It was. I was lucky enough that, so Reggie Jackson, when he left Oakland, after Oakland and before the Yankees, he was with the Orioles for a year.
I would not have remembered that.
He played with the Orioles, and it was the second jersey I ever had. The first jersey was a guy from the Senators. They called him the Washington Monument. He was 6'7.5", about 260 pounds. His name was Frank Howard. They called him Hondo. And he just hit baseballs to the moon. Like, it just seemed like, wow, this guy was incredible. The second was Reggie Jackson with the Orioles. It wasn't an A's. It was with the Orioles. And then I was heartbroken when he left, because we would go watch them in Baltimore. So those were the kind of the benchmark. So the Senators left and went to Texas, and I'm old enough to have watched baseball on TV in black and white, and I had never put together that major league games were in color until I went to a game, and it was like, oh, this it's green.
Like, it's green. Dirt is brown.
Oh, like I get it. Like we listened to games on the transistor radio. So we had this little black box radio that I would carry around, and I would sit, I try to find a place in the neighborhood that got good reception, and I would listen to the Senators or whatever was going on. Back then, all of the Washington teams were terrible. They were terrible. The Bullets were terrible. The Redskins were terrible. And the Senators were terrible. And then we got hockey, and I think we had the worst record in NHL history the first year. I think they may have been like 5-74 or something, just awful. So I was kind of okay. I'm going to jump into college. Well, college, luckily, if you're from that area, there's like 10 colleges to choose from.
Right there.
Well, Georgetown wasn't good yet. Georgetown was not good. George Mason wasn't. It wasn't a major thing. It wasn't. So it was University of Virginia and Maryland. But Maryland was good. Maryland, this is John Lucas, Tom McMillan, Len Elmore, Mo Howard. I know I know the whole thing. And so that's where heroes come from, is like the people around you and who you watch. Who was your first Duke fan? Like the Duke hero. Who was the dude that made you a Duke fan?
The first guy I remember watching is Kyle Singler.
Okay.
I remember exactly where I was then in 2012 when Austin Rivers hit that shot.
You were so young, Austin. You were so young.
My favorite Duke player of all time, though, is Tyus Jones.
Why? That's not the typical Duke selection.
He's more recent. That 2015 team was probably the one I first fell in love with. That's probably I was at the peak of I'm reading everything. I'm consuming everything I can. I just hopped on Twitter. So I knew the most about that team. Tyus Jones, calm, cool, collected. I mean, as a freshman, he earned the nickname Tyus Stones. When you needed a big play, offensively or defensively, he was there. Only shot like 34% from 3, 35% at Duke.
That wasn't his thing.
Hit the corner 3 against St. John's to give Duke the lead in Coach K's 1,000th win. Completely took over against Carolina. Duke was down 8 or 10 with 2 minutes to go. They win that game in overtime. He wasn't the star. He rose to the big moments. It wasn't about him. It was about Jahlil Okafor. It was about even Quinn Cook. Justice Winslow sometimes, but Tyus Jones was the engine. Gets Final Four MOP against Wisconsin, hitting the big shots.
Winslow was the one that I thought was going to be the guy. Like I thought
he's got a heck of a story.
Like I thought he was going to be the new face long term for Duke, and it just never happened. It never became that.
If he sticks around a couple years, he might have. I thought he had a chance to be an NBA All-Star.
Yeah, so did he, which is a whole other thing.
Right.
So did he. So, and I knew his people. I actually met his parents down in Texas. And so I knew his story. As a matter of fact, when I was in Texas coaching, we went into his high school and beat his team with a very Duke-looking group of young men that I was coaching. His guys looked like him. My team looked like Duke, actually Duke. And he actually saw it, and he was actually impressed. He actually came up and said, man, you extended a zone. Like he goes, I haven't seen that in high school forever. And I'm like, yeah, well, you see what I'm working with. I got to do this. So it was good stuff. So then who becomes your first Husker hero?
My first Husker hero, probably Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead did a lot of absolutely heroic things. I mean, Ndamukong Suh was Ndamukong Suh. He was a whole other level. I couldn't idolize Ndamukong Suh. I was never going to be that big, never going to be that fast, that strong. Like, I revere Ndamukong Suh, the first guy attached to is Rex Burkhead.
There seems to be the conversations that happen around here when people name the greats, and there's a faction that gets lost in, well, what do you do with the guys like Burkhead? Like, where do you place him? You can't put him in the top 5, but you feel terrible if you don't put him in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But he often ends up being the end of the game kind of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I love people. I love finding out why people root for who they root for. You know, Burkhead makes sense.
Amir was next.
See, okay. Then I'm going to ask you before we go to break. I'll ask this one. What was the first Husker jersey you ever got?
The first Husker jersey I ever got was from my uncle, who's 6'7", got me and my brother's adult extra large jerseys. No name on the back. They're number 30. It could have been a prom dress from DP. I don't know. I assume since it was, I think 30 was the number, so I assume it was Rozier. But there was no name on it. It was too big. Like, I don't know if I've ever actually worn it because I would still be swimming in it.
Like even now. Yeah. Oh man. I could tell you. I had a Husker jersey even in DC. I had a Husker jersey. Which I find it pretty interesting along the way that somehow, you know, when I got to meet him here, I immediately reverted back to being 12 years old. Like immediately I became that kid again, and I got to meet the Jet, and I thought this is a great memory. All right, we'll go to break. We appreciate you hanging out with us anyway. Ahman, got busy and got stuff to do, so we're going to hold it down for you, and then Harrison Arns will pick it up after that. But we'll be right back to Ticket Weeknights.
I will not touch the fuse box.
I will probably not touch the fuse box.
Sip, do you remember what happened last time?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened?
Half of the city block lost power.
And?
My chicken condo went haywire.
That's right. The chickens ran wild. So what do we do instead?
Call Joe at Ambition Electric and let him handle everything. Look, saved on speed dial.
Ambition Electric, 402-217-3415 or online at ambitionelectric.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it is Truck Month at Koppel, and we are pulling out all of the stops for this gigantic event. The lots are starting to fill, and we have some great deals for you waiting in Louisville. Brand new GMC Sierra Light Duty and new Silverado Light Duty trucks. All trim levels have up to $4,000 in discounts. That's right, up to $4,000 off all new light duty trucks right now at Koppel, so do not wait. Now is the time to buy a new truck, so stop on in or visit us online at koppelcars.com. You must have a trade-in and finance with Koppel. All deals with Roof Credit.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit, and you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour, an opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
You finally finished your man cave in the basement. Brand new furniture, huge TV, and all of your collector's items. You're ready for football season. You are so excited until one bad rain and it is all ruined. Don't risk a flooded basement and count dollars in damages when it can be avoided. Call John Henry's today for a free sump pump estimate for your home.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Guys, when I first started with Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, I weighed in at over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Attention all Wings fans. 89 Cent Wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89 Cent Wings.
If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
This is the Ahman Green Show on 93.fm.com.
Welcome back. We appreciate you folks hanging out with us on a Thursday night. And we told you to be patient. Good things come to those who wait. We are joined by the man himself. 3-0. Ahman Green. What's happening, brother?
Man, what's up, DP, man? I apologize for that. We are.
How are you, AJ? What's happening, man? Let's get
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
You're muted on your. He's muted on his side. There we go.
We good?
We'll keep it moving. It's you. Yeah. Can you hear us, or can we? Yeah, we'll work it out. He can hear us, but we can't hear him.
Let me see here.
There we go. There we go. We got you.
We got me.
We got you, brother.
All right. Yeah. So I'm back home in Green Bay. You know, we get our house on the market, so we had people walking through, and they just ended a few minutes ago.
Look, man, we get it. We're pros. I'm like, you know what? AG's got stuff to do. How is Green Bay? What's happening?
It's a lot colder than in Lincoln, so I can't wait to get back to Lincoln.
When do you get back?
I'll be back Sunday.
So how this is the weirdness and how it'll work. The next 2 weeks, I'm covering the UFC, so I'll be gone on Thursday. The next 2 Thursdays, but Jay Foreman is going to be here in studio.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, we're yeah. He was rubbing his hands together.
My goodness, we're gonna have some fun. That was my guy.
Oh,
even though he was a linebacker, that was my guy.
You know, lots of stories. He was all hyped up about it, and then he immediately wanted to know, like, when is AG going to invite me down to the university to meet these kids and get his game on? So
he could come down anytime. I'll beat him up on the game now. I used to get beat up when I was on campus. The only game I could win in was Tekken. That was it.
So what were you playing back then? When
we're playing Tekken, Madden, NBA Live, and then games I was playing on my own was like RPG games, like Grand Theft Auto or some space game or something. Because I'll get more deep into the other games than everybody else is doing. All the competition games like Madden and NBA Live, playing for their little scholarship checks. I was like, no, y'all can have that. I'm gonna keep my little bit of money that we get. And we don't have NIL deals right now.
That's the thing that Jay and I, we talk about that. Rashawn, we talk about it. How much do you think you would have made under today's rules back in NIL? Like, how would that have gone? What do you think
I would say, for what I've been seeing around and what I was, guys and girls that were like same level as me, in terms of I was academic All-American in football, all-state in track, all state in football, I would probably been somewhere in the neighborhood between, six figures for sure. It was 6 to 7 figures. And at coming out of high school, it would have been that would have been very nice. But, I made it to the
Would it
league and it still worked out.
would it have changed it for you though? Would it
No.
have changed how, right? Like, I mean, I think that's the concern for people that say it doesn't have enough boundary is that you're giving
Yeah.
too much to folks who haven't produced yet.
And see, and what reason why I wouldn't have changed is for two reasons. My mom and dad, the way they raised me, how to value a dollar. By the time I was 10 years old, I knew what that meant. I knew what a dollar was worth. I knew if I wanted anything, if especially if it was to get a little couple bucks to go to grab some a bag of chips and a soda pop at the store, I had to do something. Did you clean your room? What's your grades look like? Are you staying out of trouble with your brothers or the teachers at school and stuff like that? So I had to make sure I had everything in line before I asked for anything. And so by the time I was 10, I was conditioned for that, and I knew what a dollar. Like I said, I knew what the value of a dollar was. And not saying these kids today don't understand it, and don't know that, but just making sure they don't lose sight of that. With the whole NIL thing, NIL deal, which is a great thing for them, but still, you got to come play your sport, do your job, get your grades right, and still graduate.
AG, how do you have the discussion? What's your thought process on choosing between staying in school and getting the degree or going to where the professional money is just off the charts big? How do you have that discussion? What do you suggest for folks?
How you have that discussion by asking yourself or asking the player if you're the coach or if you're the parent. You kind of you weigh all your options, and you find out now the information I say for NFL players, potential NFL players that are prospects to get drafted, they have a better um, measuring stick now, a committee that is more legit than was when I was getting drafted, that it was more accurate of where you're going to get drafted in terms of rounds, first, second, third round. It wasn't then when I came out, because if it was, I wouldn't have came out. I would have stayed one more year at Nebraska, and finished up my degree. I finished up my degree anyway. That was the thing I told myself going into college, and when I came out early as a junior, that no matter what, I'm gonna finish my degree, and that's something I promised my parents. So I did that, even though I came out early as a junior in '90 and 90, at the '97 after the '97 season for the '98 draft.
I found that interesting that, as you have to make that decision again, you're an academic first, come from an academic first family. It was an actual priority and a focus, but then we're talking about profession and we're talking about generational wealth when we get that opportunity. So I
Right.
was curious as to how you made that decision. You're in the space now where you're getting to be an advisor for young people who are in a vacuum that is going to expand and grow. Right,
Yes.
that gaming is not just going to be a hobby. For the young people under your watch, some of them are making a decision on, and these are life and career decisions. How do
Correct.
you pitch that to the young people in the same way that Tom Osborne had to tell you, hey, this is your profession now, you're working for that.
Mhm.
How do you have that discussion with your gamers? Because we don't know what the value systems are going to be, and we don't know what the future.
Correct.
We know it's growing. We know where it
Yes.
is now. How do you have the discussion? What are the talking points?
So it's how I have it. I just start the conversation, and the talking points are simple to me, but obviously they are learning it. So it's basically because you got esports uh, pros that could go pro at 18. They don't even have to go to college,
Yeah.
if they make enough money and they manage it properly. And so what I've have been up against it for the last 3 years, coaching at the school I was at previously, Lakeland University, and now being at the Nebraska, is saying to the kids, like, I understand you could definitely, you have a sweet deal. You have a lot more options than we did. So you could go pro in what you're doing, if it's Valorant, if it's League of Legends, if it's Madden, if it's 2K, any of these games. But I say you just reinforce yourself in terms of having a college degree, because then if the sports is over, the esports games are over, you're not winning as much, and you're getting older, you have something to fall back on. You always had that, and that was something I was taught way before high school. By the time I got to high school, I already know that once I, get my grades right and do what I'm supposed to do in high school, that college is going to be that safety net. So if football comes up, baseball comes up, I tear a ACL, I do something to my shoulder, or if I get injured, then I could go teach, I could go coach, I could go be a banker, or a lawyer, doctor, whatever my degree was going to be. I could go do that and not feel like, oh man, I don't have nothing for myself. I have nothing to show for my athletic prowess to earn a scholarship to play well, but then also get an education alongside that. I had this to go back to, and so I explained that to them in the best way in the best way so they can understand it from their point of view, basically.
Through the newness of it, right? That the university diving into the pool and then trying to create
Mhm.
boundaries for it, but also a ceiling for it. Scholarships becomes the conversation.
Yes.
Where does this department, where does it currently stand on scholarships, and then what's the goal? What's the ideal in a perfect world? What does it look like for Ahman Green and this department 5 years from now?
So right now we have 10 partial scholarships that are 12,000 for the 4 years of that student athlete. So 3,000 a year, 1,500 per semester. And the part I've been asked a lot by all the current kids is like, can current students get that scholarship? That's the part I don't know. I'm gonna ask, talk to Sherry Vell, my dean of students, and I'm pretty sure she has the answer. So I'm gonna have a conversation with her on that. But the long term goal is 5 years from now we have full ride scholarships, and we have more than 10. We have anywhere from 10 to 20 or 25 scholarships for esports players and students that's going to come to campus at the University of Nebraska.
Will they be recruited into that space through those numbers for competition, for the degree itself? How will that work?
It's going to work. I say for the competition, yes, it's definitely for that. For their
Okay.
degree, that's up to them. Obviously, they could choose to be at the College of Journalism and Mass Communication and go into sports management, sports production itself. That's what we house at our college. But if they want to go into engineering, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be a doctor, any other major is still open to that student. So it really depends on who he or she decides for their major. But in terms of that's I'll say, but the competition side of it, that's where the scholarship um, is for. Obviously they're giving that, and I'm looking at everything that any coach from any traditional sports is looking at the stats of that player in that game to earn that scholarship. So I'm looking at their Valorant stats, their League of Legends stats, and the stats that tell me that makes them a good player. Just like when you look at a football player, you look at, real simple, you look at a running back and you see that running back has above a 3.5 yards per carry average, then I want him on my roster, or I want to recruit him and develop him into a better player for my team, or a quarterback who's passing for 300 yards a game and more touchdowns than interceptions, a 2-to-1 ratio there. So looking at the same type of stats for players in the esports world.
We're talking to Ahman Green, and again, through what he's doing through the University of Nebraska and what he's doing for the University of Nebraska, this is big. The recruiting part fascinates me,
Yeah.
right? Because as you expand this thing, how are you going to handle that? Is there going to be? Are you going to have a scouting staff? Are you going to do this yourself? Are you accepting applications? How are you going to handle getting enough students into the program, the right students into this
Right.
program?
Well, right now it's me and a handful of faculty members and a handful of students. Because we have students that are part of the club team right now. They're basically sending me messages in my Discord and email, say, "Hey, coach, I'll help out." We have enough. I have time in the day to go to certain high schools in the area. I mean, one student in particular, like, reached out to me within a month. He does the shoutcasting for the Call of Duty team. His name is Jaden, and right away he's like, "Coach, I'm going to Lincoln East today." This was like 2 months ago, So back in January, I just got here. He's like, "Look," he said, I heard about that you're coming here, and I read the article. What do you need me to do?" Like, already. So to have that interest for the current kids already on campus was phenomenal. It was like awesome to hear that and see that, and then actually see the action, take action. So I mean, see them take action, going to, he went to Lincoln East High School. I sent him an email with his pitch, what he needed to say to the kids at that time, or what was coming down the line in January. But now we got a little bit more. We have the scholarships now. We have the facility that's about to start its construction to get built out in the student union in the basement next to the Nebraska bookstore. So there's your pitch. And we have other kids too that are doing the same thing, going to Lincoln High, going to Southeast, going to North Star. And we're planning out other visits to other schools in the Omaha area and other schools west of us, outside of Lincoln.
There's so much to this, and it's informative for most people listening, because it's all new and it's process. We'll toward the break. When we come back, I do need to ask you about the new facility, how it's being built, what the timetable is, and how folks can be involved in it. Maybe it's fundraising, maybe it's recruiting, or otherwise. But we'll get back to that. The great one, Ahman Green, when we come back.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports cars, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Steve's Garage Doors and Services is hiring. They are looking for a garage door installation and service technician with a clean driving record. Experience is not required as they will train for the positions. However, mechanical aptitude is required. If you want to come be a part of a small business where you're family, not just an employee, call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today to apply at 402-480-2840. That's 402-480-2840. Steve's Garage Doors and Services.
This Easter, focus on your family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8 and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb roasted chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Spring Sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is the Ahman Green Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second segment with the great one, number 30. Ahman Green. AG, it's as you take us through Gaming 101 at this level, and you mentioned facility. That facility is necessary. It's mandatory. It's a big part of it. How are you going about this, right? So you said that they're starting work on it. What's the project? How long do you think it takes before this thing looks the way and operates the way you want it to?
It depends. I say, well, it's going to take probably, with it starting now here in March, almost April now. Let's say April, because April's Saturday. We're looking. It's going to be huffing it, but we're looking for late August, early September. And I remember sitting in the room talking with everybody that was on campus that was in charge of the project. And I said, look, I looked at some people's faces. I was like, oh man, that's pretty quick, And I said, look, from talking with the students at that time, they were just happy to know that was going on. And they really didn't care when it could be December. And I said, so don't worry about the timeline. As long as they know something's getting built, because for the past 3 years, the club team members and the varsity team members have been playing from their dorm rooms and or apartments, on Wi-Fi. And so they're already been grinding it out with bare minimum as it is. So they have that hunger and they understand, they're humble, about what they're about to receive and very excited about it. So they understand the whole, waiting is no problem. This, as we know, is coming. I'm like, yes, it's coming. And so I told, everybody in the room that was programming, like I said, planning this out, and they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah. So as long as it gets done, and when it opens up, the kids going to be there. It's definitely for the club and the varsity team, and then all the student body will be able to experience it. And so in the student union.
I'm going to ask you to be your own hype man. Describe this facility. Like, what do you know the image of what it looks like?
Oh yeah, the pictures are beautiful. Haley, our finance director at the school of college or journalism college of mass communication, did the whole rendering. It looks awesome. So it's going to be 2,800 plus square feet. Going to have 50 plus gaming stations and 4 console gaming areas. So that's Switch, Xbox, PlayStation areas for competitors to play on Madden, FIFA, and 2K. But for the PC areas, like I said, 15 plus. There's a varsity practice area and then a competition area for the varsity. And when we have away or visiting teams coming in, and then there will be a practice area for the club members and the rest of the varsity team players as well. So plenty of computers for everyone to have their own space. Every team, because we have 4, 5, 6 different teams that's going to be in the building, some mostly the same time. Practice schedule, I actually went over it today with some of the kids in the announcements of the Nebraska Esports Discord, and got questions. It's going to be 5 days a week, and it's looking to be hopefully 3 to 6 or 4 to 7 or 5 to 8. So 5 days a week, 3 hours a day of practice. We'll have a little merch store in the front so we could sell our apparel, controllers, headsets that have our logos on it. So it's going to be a full operating, basically small business within the student union and on campus. So something that where there's not only just be space for our esports athletes to play and compete and get better in, but actually make a revenue, make a small business out of what we're doing on campus in the new esports facility.
How do you cap Go Big Red into gaming speak? How do you merch that thing out?
Ooh. Oh man, it's
like
it's so
Game
easy.
Big Red, Go Big Red gamers. I think
We
there's
can
a
figure
lot.
it out. We could figure
Yeah.
it out. I've been thinking about it too. So I probably next show I'll have something because me, I'm like the way my brain works. It's like Hannibal. If you remember Hannibal from back in the '80s from the A Team,
Yes,
how you
sir.
say if you give him an hour, I'm good. But if you give me 2-3 hours or a day, I'm great. It's like
Yep.
that. So once I've been thinking about something with GBR or Go Big Red and gaming, trying to figure that out, how we can make that happen.
I think GBR gaming is kind of what lands, but
Yeah.
you've got some smart kids in the program, and I'm sure
Yeah, they've
they
done fantastic like graphic art design for some of the stuff they have on their own already. So they're super excited to be working with the school eventually where we could actually use the trademarks that is Nebraska athletics once we get into the athletic department. And that's one of our other goals, that's along with the scholarships, because that's something where I have to have a conversation with Trev and say, hey, these are the reasons why we need to be an athletic department, because it's a whole new I say area of students that are interested in competing at the college level, and it's a whole nother revenue for the school. It's whole new revenue for even the students, because they play in leagues that and along with NIL they can earn their own money along with the school having more kids wanting to come to Nebraska, not just for traditional sports but for esports. I mean, I just talked to a coach from Gretna High School today within the last hour. And Gretna High School, in their program, they have over 200 kids at the high school level. So just think about that: 200 kids at one high school. So this football team at the high school level maybe has right close to 100 kids from the
Yeah.
freshman team to the varsity team. We're
Yeah.
talking about 200 just for the esports teams that are played at Gretna and most of the high schools in and around Nebraska, Omaha, Lincoln, the outlying schools are everywhere. So
Is there a state tournament for that?
yes, yes, in Nebraska. If you go to the Nebraska Esports High School Association website, they had their I think fall championships prob- back in January, and I believe Westside or last year Westside and Overwatch won it. Overwatch 2 and Gretna, they won in the championship. They won in a playoff bracket that's going to Intel is going to fly them to Dallas here in another month to compete in it's either Valorant or Overwatch 2 as well. And so that is a free trip for those high school kids, and then a full whole new experience, and they have the opportunity to win $10,000 for their school and for themselves. So
That
esports, if you don't think it's going, you don't think it's here, then you're fooling yourself.
I'm gonna have to get in the sports in the shoutcasting deal myself. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Exactly.
We're gonna have to work that out. Ahman, we'll throw it a break here. We'll come back more. I want to talk more about this high school level, what's happening in the community, and then what it means to you
Yes.
as an athlete, because we need to include some Husker athletes in this gaming program. Ahman Green here on the Ahman Green Show. We'll be right back.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best we can. If you haven't planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides. Shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bliker with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bliker with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism. Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yes, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's efforts. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Experience Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is the Ahman Green Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I want to thank you for hanging out with us on a Thursday night. 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line and the Honda Lincoln hotline. You can follow us on the Starter Heyman live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And you can follow us on Allo, channel 951 live. You can check it out. You can jump on the streams. The chats are open on the streams as well. And we appreciate you folks hanging out. The Ahman Green Show, and the Ahman Green is with us. We're going through it. Austin, super producer Austin and I were talking, and I recalled a story of a kid who, this was just recent, who, so the school didn't have enough units, enough consoles for them to each have them there stationary at the schools, but the kids were bringing their consoles. Yeah. Well, in the competition, one kid, of course, he was being creative and innovative, and he apparently hyped up his console a little bit, gave it a little extra juice, and it made all the difference in the world.
Okay.
I would imagine that is a thing that as this thing expands and grows, that you'll get more of it and more boundaries will be set about how business is being done.
Yes, yes. I know with PCs, there's, as we say in the world, there's hackers out there, or there's guys and girls that know how to, like you said, hype up their consoles or whatever. I know with the console space, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. I say really more Xbox, PlayStation because they have more online that are competitive games on on those systems. So they have it where they'll know right away. It'll almost shut your system down if they caught you with any type of malware or spyware or anything that's going to come into a game. And what it is, what I've seen it done. My players showed me YouTube clips of a player that has a hacked system of playing Call of Duty where they actually could see the outline of your character through the wall, and so they know exactly where to shoot. And so consoles have a really good job of finding those players and banning them. I know I did an article on my podcast that I do, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge, and it was probably like about a month ago, and it found that Microsoft and PlayStation or Activision Blizzard for Call of Duty had shut down over 1 million user accounts for basically cheating
Yeah. Yeah.
in regular gameplay, not in competition play, but in regular gameplay, shutting them down because they were using some type of bot, as they call it, bots, to get into the system so they could see where everybody's at or have their aim be perfect. They call it aim bot. So
Yeah.
basically a robot aiming for you. So yeah, and then on the PC side of it, it is PC. So it will find you and detect you from the systems they're using, the bots they have on their side. Activision has to seek out the ones that are doing that. So if you get caught doing it, you're gonna be banned. You may not be able to touch a PC for a long time. So you want to be mindful of that. Trying to have a leg up just to get a win.
Well, so the other part of the discussion was speed, and that bandwidth thing, and trying to keep it all equitable and same. How does that work in what you do?
So obviously, I mean, you mentioned Allo, and they're fiber wire, and
Yeah.
I'm a customer right now. And when I heard about it through a friend who lived there in Lincoln, and then when I got moved in and I ordered the service, he guy that came over and hooked it up, and was asking him questions as he was hooking it up, and he said, "No, this is the wire. It's a fiber wire." And I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Okay, now I get it." And I put it up. I put my router up off the wall, so it's hooked on the wall, not on the floor, so I can have full flow of bandwidth. And the bandwidth is important because if you're on console or if you're on a PC, that means literally you have no interruption of your internet connection to your system or your PC while you're gaming. If it's a shooter game, if it's a sports game, what you see on the screen and when you press a button, that millisecond or less reaction of that button, that you're telling the computer what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to throw the football if you're playing Madden, or shoot the gun if you're playing Call of Duty or Overwatch 2. It's simultaneous. And so then there's no lag. And that's what you want. Because that's what the pros want. From the high fiber internet that like a company like Allo has, or I think Samsung or BenQ just put out a brand new gaming monitor that's around 27 inches, and it has a 0.0001 millisecond reaction time to you. That means it literally is basically by the time you hit the button, it's already registered, and boom, your movement is happening before other players that doesn't have that monitor. So the pros were calling for this monitor. Like I said, remember, it's only 27 inches, but it was worth $1,500. Okay, that's what you would get at market sales value. And so the pros were asking for it. Friends of mine were trying to call me up, Ahman, do you know anybody? I'm like, man, no. I said, if I know somebody, I ain't saying that right now. I was like, or I'm gonna make sure I make a mint off of this, because I'm like, the 27-inch TV that's worth $1,500 these days. Like, wow. And it's not a TV, it's a monitor, it's a gaming monitor. So that's
Yeah.
what basically the gamers look for if they can afford it, or if they have an organization that can buy it for them to be, could be able to compete on. It's like having brand new shoes, helmets, the best shoulder pads, or the best baseball bats to hit the ball out the park, or the best volleyball equipment, best basketball equipment to shoot the ball better, jump in the shoes that you have, all that stuff. So it's looking at the same equipment, looking at the equipment the same way you would look at for any traditional sport.
Aman, I think what we need to do when you get back into town is to hook you up with Brad Moling from Allo, because I think that's a really good way to get some of the sponsorships done, he can set you up. Like when Brad makes the phone call and go, look, let's figure this out. 50 consoles and 50 different consoles, and then 4 stations. That's pretty high level.
50 PC gaming stations and 4 gaming or console stations. So the console stations will have 3 consoles in it: a Switch, a PlayStation, and an Xbox.
So why
that's
do
like
I see? Why do I
12
see
stations,
this?
12
Why do I
consoles
see
there.
this in your future? That this becomes like an arena, like this. That you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
have full speakers and
Yeah.
crowd seats and music pumped in. Right. This is the full picture, though, right?
Yeah, it's the full picture. So this is stage 1. Getting the facility in the student union, in the basement floor, next to the Nebraska bookstore. That's stage 1. That's phase 1.
Okay.
If you watch any Marvel movie, the whole Marvel saga, it was phases, right? Like Tony
Yeah.
Stark to then when Avengers got announced, that was like phase 1. Then after Avengers and then all the other characters were getting their own movies, that was phase 2. And right now, I believe they're in phase 6. Okay. So we're in phase 1 of that development of having the facility, getting the players organized to get the practice together, getting players scholarships, getting the program sponsored. All that's coming down the line. And so then phase 2 is to have what you just mentioned, an arena on campus or near campus in the downtown area, so then we could house everything I mentioned, plus maybe a weight room, cafeteria, a relaxation area, because gamers are now being conscious of their mental health and playing games and being intense, just like playing on. I remember in football, during my football days, either in Lincoln, in Seattle, or in Green Bay, when I had a bad practice, I wanted to decompress. So I would come home and play, either watch a movie, relax, or even play a video game, an RPG, where it was no competition, where I just could go and just kind of release and chill because you had that bad practice or you had that stressful moment at work or in practice. So gamers need the same type of release and they need the same type of reaction or relaxation, along with fitness. They need to have their bodies toned. That helps with dealing with the stress of competition. There's all type of stress in every game that you play, from traditional sports, from basketball players to football players to tennis to hockey to swimming to Valorant, League, Rocket League, Madden. That's that stress that comes from playing the game, and you need to decompress from that. So having an area in that building or in that arena where they could do that, but then having a fan area where we have anywhere from 2,000 to 3,500 seats for fans to come watch us compete in our games. So that's the big picture right there. Here.
What's the? I mean, you talked about working out and the state of mind, and toning, being more fit. What would that gym look like? Like, what would
It
the
would
workout space look like?
So it will look like any other gym. Probably a less. It depends on the players themselves, because I asked them, like, what do you like to do when you work out? I know what I like.
Yeah.
I do like weights. I don't go heavy no more. I don't have to. But I will go to a dumbbell rack and mess around with the dumbbells. I will do a lot of functional training, using a lot of rubber bands, a lot of box jumps, a lot of plyometrics, running on a treadmill, jogging on that, or sprinting on that. Getting on a bike, either something similar to a Peloton or just riding my bike around the neighborhood, just being all around active. Getting blood flow. A yoga studio where there's a lot of flexibility, working on mobility of your shoulders, your back, your neck, because obviously you're sitting at a table all day and your shoulders are getting tight, your neck is getting tight, so because you're sitting in the same position. We're talking about 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 15 hours out of the week. We're most likely sitting for probably 2.5, maybe 2 hours of that 3 hours. The other times we're talking and walking, we're watching video of previous matches or getting ready for another game. So you'll be up and down a little bit, but overall, we want to eventually get guys and girls moving. So we're shaking all that stigma of what video games used to be. Video gamers used to look like, be referenced as a joke of sitting in the basement, a bag of Cheetos, a Mountain Dew, and not in shape, unhealthy, and all that. That is a thing of the past for all gamers these today, and that's what we're going to promote in this new facility. Somewhere between now and I would say 2000. Let's see, it's 2020 new now, so by 2025, 2026.
Creature of habit, like the old gamers. You mentioned Cheetos. What's the nutritional boundary that's set in place now? Because if you're there for 2 hours, the gamers that I know, creatures of habit and convenience.
So what
How do you change that?
you teach them the new habits, the good habits. I mean, stuff that I used to do as an athlete, I still do now. I drink water literally all day long. Um, I I'm like hovering between. I say during the week I don't eat no animal meat. That's a cheat day on the weekend. I'm vegetarian or I'm vegan during the week. And so not saying they got to go to that extreme because they're young. But if they have allergies, let me know. Because I like to train them and teach them those good habits. So when you're gaming, sitting there with a water bottle, and a lot of them do that already. I don't. A lot of them I've seen game already, and they do that. They talk about it. Hey, yeah, I got a big water bottle that's about 24 ounces. As soon as the bottle is empty, I go fill it up with more water. So a lot of them are already doing it, but keep creating those good habits. And then beyond the nutrition, cutting back on the sugar, that doesn't help, obviously, in the long term. Getting anywhere from 6 to 7 hours or 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night. That's just something I think that's for everybody, not just a gamer. I think every human being, if they got more sleep, the world would be definitely a different place. And people don't realize how important sleep is to our overall health. And by me promoting it to my players, at least I know I have a group of players that I'm affecting with good positive habits.
All of like you're dragging me into the pool, Ahman. Like I'm now curious about how all this works, and that's
Yeah.
literally what the show is to explain how this works and who it is. The big curiosity for me is who are the stars of this thing, and how are you going to identify and share the stars that you find, create, and curate in gaming here in Lincoln?
Well, the stars are the players. I'm in the background, which I don't mind being in the background. I'm the director, I'm the head coach, I'm the lecturer. I'm behind the scenes. And we're gonna have kids that are gonna also be behind the scenes with me. That's gonna help with I say promoting the program. I remember we just had a meeting about our social media and about getting that going. So next week is our deadline where we'll start posting once or twice a week or more about all the teams and what they're doing and introducing the esports teams, players, the games we play, everything that we do in the program. What for now is going to start being promoted through our social media outlets, through our Facebook, through our Instagram and Twitter. That's what we do have now. Working on a Facebook, we're working on a TikTok. We're gonna go into places where we know other students are, be it college students or the high school students or the middle school students, so they could learn and their families, the teachers, faculty can learn about Nebraska esports. And just like any business, just like any corporation, but it's through the kids that we teaching them, all this business acumen of what they can take them with them once they graduate, because this is their program. I'm just here to help them stay within the guidelines and then make it, clean up and polish it a little bit. But for them, it's their baby. They've been doing it for 3 years already. I'm just coming to kind of put a nice little bow on it and keep them going on the up and up.
AG, it's interesting that you being, you're a Husker Hall of Famer, and on campus and in dorm rooms and apartments all over Lincoln, there are student athletes who game. Is there any way to bridge and get those folks into your programs, or at least connected to those programs?
Yeah, it's been kind of going on. So like one area is with me teaching the class. I got Xavier from the team. I have Janiron Bonner, Justin. He has three. I think he has three. I know I forgot his last name.
Yeah.
Yes, from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So there are three athletes in my class, traditional athletes, and we're already talking about. I know Xavier, for example, he's been talking a lot about. He's been asking me, "Hey, coach, you guys got Apex Legends?" I'm like, "Yes, we sure do." There's a community for it. There's a competition for it. There's a league for it. So he's like, "Oh, okay." So now, come between now and the fall, I'm gonna make sure I talk, because there's some of the players that are already on the club team that are trying to play that game. And so the more players we get, then we could make a roster and then grow it from there. So, something that I had in mind that I started to just, I say, knock on the door with at Lakeland was with some of the traditional sports. When their sport is not in season, their players are welcome to come over and jump in a game that they like. They could start off casually to see how far they want to go with it. If they want to get serious, then jump on the varsity squad. But they got to commit to it just like any other sport. You got to be there 5 days a week for 3 hours. We're hitting it. We're going hard at it. But if they want to stay casual, they can. But they can start interacting with the club players too, and to find out, get new friends, new connections, and just continue to grow. And then also learn behind the scenes stuff, like I was mentioning, the social media, the production, kind of like my show here. What y'all do to produce my show, there's about 5 or 6 people in the room that nobody sees.
Mhm.
Everybody sees us two talking,
Mhm.
but it's like 5 or 6 people behind the scenes from the time the show a month ago was getting planned out that started putting out little things, little liars, asking questions, getting sponsors, the cameras, the audio, everything. It's going to be the same thing for the Nebraska esports program because we're in the College of Journalism and Mass Communication. We just got a new studio built within the I'll say about a year ago. That studio is awesome. It has a control room with switches and all the screens that a production studio to produce a TV show of any quality. We have it right there in our building. I just watched an event they did last Friday. It was a small Mario Kart tournament for the students on campus, and it was like I was like, man, this is awesome. I can't wait till and it's Mario Kart now, and it's Valorant and League of Legends later. That's going to look fantastic on the screen and within our network of platforms that it will air it on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and stuff like that. To have these kids running the program, commentating the program, and also competing all at the same time.
I'm looking forward to some of the individual projects. I'm still firmly landed on a student athlete tournament.
Oh
For
yeah,
any
I've been talking it up too. I've been mentioning it
you
to the
know,
players, and some of them are in. They're like, "What, really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
oh yeah, just
So
the whole like we pick a place, and we even if it's in the at the meal table, right? We just bring in the consoles and have them
right.
as they sit there and do their thing. I want to ask you this because it strikes me as this expands. Are there any other pro athletes that you know that are gamers in full at the level that you are?
There's a few. The current guys that I've met, Jonathan Allen, I believe, linebacker, defensive end for the
Yep.
Commanders.
Yep.
And retired guy Hank Baskett.
Mhm.
He's one of the guys that kind of introduced me to everybody that I know on a peripheral side, headset companies, mouse keyboard companies, that people there are now my friends through Hank. Um, and I say it's a short list, but that's about it right now. But it's growing. Oh, Aaron Beasley, he was a former defensive back for Jacksonville and played for the New York Jets. And he's done alumni competition where NFL players get together and play Madden on the weekends, stuff like that. And he has a Twitch channel, as do myself and other players. As Hank, Hank is building PCs now, since he's retired from the NFL, and so he's been doing it for the military. The military has an esports team, the Army, and he built out, I believe, like a set of computers, probably like 20 or 30 of them earlier. Earlier last year, so almost about a year ago now.
Well, I can tell you that UFC is coming. Like they are getting they're trying to get their tournaments together. They're trying to get the programs together. They
Right.
want this to be a big part of it, and I went, okay, well, I know some people,
Good.
so I think it'll be impressive. What's your schedule? Where are you going to be in the world? You come back to Lincoln this weekend, and then how
Yep.
long you in town?
I'm here. I'm back on Sunday, and then I'll be back again. I'll be gone again on Thursday. This will be my last trip because I'm going to visit my godson for his birthday. He's turning 14 down in Orlando, Florida. So, but I will be eligible to be back on the show next week on time.
We'll
I'll be
both
ready
be
to go.
we'll both be virtual next week because I'll be in
Yeah, we
Miami.
both.
So
Okay.
I'll be
Yeah.
in Miami.
Well, I'll be just a little north of you, and then after
Yes.
that, I'll be in Lincoln for probably the rest of the semester.
All right, bro. Well,
Yep.
we'll get it in. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to make that hookup with Brad Moline from Allo because I think
Definitely.
you two would be some amazing partners. AG, it is always a pleasure. I look forward to next week, kind sir. Travel safe, and we'll catch you when you get back to Lincoln.
All right, you too as well, DP, and thank you everybody, Austin, everybody behind all the crew behind the scenes. Appreciate you. See you next week.
There it is. He's the legend. Ahman Green. Don't go anywhere. Harrison Arns will take you through Ticket Weeknights. Coming up, 937 The Ticket.